Hi, everyone. When I saw this topic, I had to leave the last podcast a little early last time. So I was like, oh, relationships. Interesting topic. When I think about it today, in today's terms, and I don't want to date myself, but certainly things have changed quite a bit. I completely agree with what Paulina said around technology. We're supposedly more connected more than ever, but more people actually feel quite alone, even with all of these tools of the dating apps and the texting and the social media. But I find they tend to leave out things like presence, vulnerability, and time. Um, when I think about this, trust to me is a key cornerstone in building relationships. All those shared moments of consistency and emotional safety that come up, and of course, our own evolution and growth over time shapes our definition of what relationships are as well, right? So when I got married at 25, my idea of being in love was very different than it is now based on my experience. And actually, another thing Paulina had mentioned about cultural differences, I find when I do a lot of traveling, and when I travel, I notice, in different cultures, in different areas of the world, there's different, and I think Joe touched on it as well. There's just different ways of forming those relationships through, whether it's touch, whether it's, hugging, whether like, whatever it might be. I just find, that some people in some areas, whether it's culturally or a country, whatever it might be, outside of Vancouver. I love Vancouver. It's a lovely city. Grew up here, but I can really see, even if I go to Victoria or to Souk, you can see a little bit of a shift in that from like a big city, so to speak, into a smaller area, and how people, just how people can relate to other people. I also find, and of course, being in the metaphysical, having that background, there's, the energy that it takes to meet someone, to be open, to put yourself out there, and that's just the beginning. And once you've met someone, then there's this question of how does that relationship fit in to a life that already feels full and already exists. And I find, certainly for me as I get older, what I've worked hard to build to feel kind of a little bit more of that solid, grounded foundation. Um, it's always obvious where someone fits in, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, a love relationship. And I'll just end off. I like reading about what Aristotle has to say. I really enjoy just kind of pulling at some of the things that he shared, and so he believed that deep friendship, so philia, was the term in ancient Greek, was essential to a good life. And it's the kind of bond that's built on shared values, mutual respect, and a desire for another's growth. So while he framed it around friendship, um, that same foundation to me is what really allows romantic relationships to truly last. So it's not necessarily just all about attraction or companionship. It's that deep caring that we have for the other person's well being and choosing each other with intention. And so, the questions that come to mind after thinking about this is, are people truly willing to invest time and energy into connecting? And moreover, does that change with age? And then how open are we to letting someone into our lives without kind of losing what we've already built, and including any kind of protection mechanisms that we've put in place for ourselves, thanks to like past hurt or past experience. So just some of the things that kind of come up when I think about this.